Welcome to the Tranquil Domain. Wizards of the Coast recently announced a limited championship event to begin in 2027. This seems like a great idea to us, as it gives limited specialists a place to showcase their talents. But the most exciting part of the announcement is that Hall of Fame players can use their invites for this event. At first glance, that might not seem like a big deal, but it's actually a genius move by Wizards. So far at the Tranquil Domain, we've interviewed 11 Magic Pro Tour Hall of Famers. A few of those players do use their invites, but the majority don't. When we spoke to those players about using their invites, they generally recognize that they didn't have the time or resources to be competitive in the game, so they don't see themselves making the trip for a Pro Tour. They did seem to share a sentiment that basically, if there was a Pro Tour that needed little preparation and the travel was manageable, they would play again.
I have to not only fly to wherever it is and get a hotel room or drive or whatever, I also need to acquire the cards. I don't have a Magic collection. And then I should probably spend some amount of time learning what the cards do and learning about the format to the point where, like, I'm going to put a lot of effort into it and then not win anything. That was the other problem when I first quit Magic, was it reached the point where every Pro Tour was both constructed and constructed and limited. For a long time, it would go back and forth, limited, constructed, and I would at least be able to play the limited ones. The game's left me behind, and I've left the game behind. It's just not realistic anymore. But yes, if there was a draft Pro Tour within driving distance, at the very least, I'd probably try and convince Rob, hey, let's do it this one time. And I don't think it'd be that hard to convince him.
We think there's a good chance that some of the data from these 11 interviews can be extrapolated to apply to the whole group.
Playing standard, it always just seemed like the price you had to pay in order to play in draft Pro Tours.
This event will probably be the event of the year for Hall of Fame players. I would imagine outside of choosing events for locations, every single Hall of Famer that wants to use an invite will probably use it for this event. If you're a Hall of Famer and you agree or disagree, let us know so we can set up an interview. So anyway, that's the positives. We are super excited to see all of our favorite Hall of Fame players make their triumphant return to Magic in 2027. Except there's one problem.
The real problem for me is that my wife still works for Wizards of the Coast.
There's a single name on the list, a legendary gamer, and a perennial staple of competitive Magic that isn't allowed to use their Hall of Fame invite at all. Randy Buehler was Rookie of the Year in the 1997-98 Pro Tour Magic season. He won Pro Tour Chicago and made the top 8 of 7 Grand Prix and brought home the win at GP Atlanta. Then he was commissioned by WotC to author a Magic strategy guide, for which they disallowed him from competitive play for a period of time. And then soon after, they hired him for a permanent position. Randy worked at Wizards for years and was a fan favorite on coverage at Pro Tours and every other televised event for a long time.
For me, getting voted into the Magic Pro Tour Hall of Fame was just an awesome achievement. It was to the point where, like, okay, they can't take this away from me, right? I've got the ring. It's proudly displayed in my basement with all my other sort of gaming trophies and stuff. That to me was just this validation, that I was good, that this game that I had devoted so much time and energy to was sort of acknowledging back the impact that I had had on the game. So definitely one of my proudest achievements.
When he retired from WotC, he was told he could return to Magic, but then they changed their minds.
He was told he could by the CEO, is my understanding. I'm hearing this through, I guess, Forsyth or somebody told me. And then they said no after he left. Yeah, pretty brutal.
Randy isn't allowed to play competitive Magic because his wife, Dell, is an editor at Wizards. She's not on the design team. Reed Duke is allowed to play, and his brother is on the actual design team. This isn't a shot at Reed. We don't think he gains a competitive advantage from his brother at all. But we don't think Randy can get any kind of competitive edge from his wife working for Hasbro. Ian sees every card long before Dell ever does.
So I'm not allowed to compete in any of the premier level events. I can't go play the Pro Tour even if I want to. I used to say that, I thought my job when I was at Wizards was to try to, do right by the game long enough that the Pro Tour would still be there for me when I retired. I retired, Pro Tour was still there, but my wife's working at Wizards and I'm actually not allowed to go compete. So without those premier level events to sort of target and try to get my game into shape for, I'm not as motivated by, random local tournaments or arena or anything.
It seems like maybe the arbitrary line Wizards has drawn in the sand is that nobody covered by WotC health insurance can compete in the Pro Tour. And honestly, that's kind of a ridiculous place to draw it. So, here at the Tranquil Domain, we are big fans of the heroes of Magic's golden age. We love the idea of an event where they will all make their return to the game and duke it out with the new stars, and we want Randy to play. So this is your call to action. Magic community, weigh in. Do you think Randy gets an unfair edge? Or do you think we should get to see his Ali-like return to the ring in 2027 for the limited championship?
When I left Wizards, I absolutely thought, okay, I'm rusty, but I can get my game back into shape. At this point, my game's so rusty. Only maybe. Nowadays, I would probably try, but I think it would take a long time to shake the rust off my game.